I do believe that a sustainable woman is a powerful woman because I don't know about anyone else, but I've been places in my life where I wasn't sustained. So I think that if you are sustainable, it gives you the allowance and choices that you might not otherwise have. And also with a project of this, it allows us to reach globally and also take care of ourselves locally.
I think that this idea of relationship offering as opposed to transactional selling is a massive change in business. It allows you to get to know each other a little bit. And let's go on a date before we propose marriage, right? I mean, just because we've met doesn't mean that you should give me your credit card. Like, don't do that, right?
I say, do I want to continue being a martyr on this mission? I much rather become a maven or a maverick on a mission like we all are at 262.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. Then I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the question. So let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, this is Johann Callaghan here. Another episode being brought to you, the Empowering Family Health. This podcast is all about empowering you, empowering your family, helping you to show up as your best, as the best individual that you are. Because guess what? When you are at your best, you're going to have a ripple effect across your family, out into society and community, and even the world. So it's just incredible what you can achieve and what you can produce when you are empowered. And that's what this show is all about. We bring in experts from all over the world, doctors, professionals, other health experts. And today on the show, I have got three incredibly powerful ladies. And I am just pinching myself here because like the people I get to hang out with these days is just incredible. And it's all about relationships, building relationships, because it's really important that we have good relationships with ourselves, which enable us again to have good relationship with other people, and we all help each other. And that is what women in particular are extremely good at. Okay, if you are enjoying these videos, remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family. You never know who you will be empowering. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on any new videos, and leave some comments below, ask some questions, and I'll be happy to read and answer every single one of them. Also, you can donate to the show on the Patreon link in the show notes, Empowering Family Health. And also you can do a PayPal donation. You can do a one-off, or you can do a monthly subscription, whenever you feel. That would be absolutely amazing. As always, I do appreciate it. It helps to contribute to keeping this show going. So I appreciate that. On with the show. So I have three wonderful ladies that I'm going to introduce now on the podcast. And today we're going to be talking all about empowering women. Hey, we're going to be talking about how we can be empowered and empower each other, but we're also going to talk about an incredible event that is coming up on May 11th, which is a book launch of the amazing Mission Accepted 262 Women, Entrepreneurs, Ultrapreneurs, Creatives and Media. So this book is going to be launched on May 11th. You're going to see a lot of media on my platforms over the next few weeks and over the next year, because this is actually part of a 5-year project that Deborah Drummond, who is the creator and visionary behind this whole project and this book, a speakership. We're going to talk all about it, speakership, authorship, loads of different projects, even a wine club, for God's sakes, a 262 wine club. I mean, what else is this woman going to produce in this project? She is on a mission to empower women worldwide, as well as the ladies that are on this podcast today that are going to speak to us. So that's the book. It's going to be, I got my few copies there yesterday, would you believe? Don't want that to fall over. Yesterday and I've got more copies on the way. And we're going to have a book launch in Ireland. So we're going to have a book launch in Ireland And Deb Drummond is coming all the way over from Canada, Vancouver, Canada. She's coming all the way over, and she's going to bring a few other people over with her as well to Ireland. So you're going to get to meet Deborah when you come to this event. We don't have the dates yet, but follow me on social media. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. You can't believe this. Oh my God. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into all of that. And I want you to meet these incredible people who are part of the speakership, who've been involved in all these summits over the last year, if you've been following the 262 Women's Project. And also they are authors in this incredible book as well. So let me first introduce Lisa, Dr. Lisa Tan. Okay, she helps professionals to transform from burnout to bliss. Now, I think this is a big problem in the world at the moment, especially with women very close to burnout. She personally broke free from burnout after a 15-year journey combining neuroscience, quantum physics, sacred sensuality, and clinical expertise. There's a lot of different things wrapped up in there. So she offers coaching and masterclasses on powerplays. Oh my God, powerplays. And corporate wellness consultations. So she's appeared in Los Angeles Tribune, Mindvalley University. I'm a follower of Mindvalley. Great people in there. Great American Speakoff, Fox News, Apple TV. The list goes on. This woman is incredible. And of course, she's part of the 262 Women's Ultrapreneurs, Creatives and Media. Rock Legacy and Tell All. I'm going to be rhyming that off now, I am. And she believes as well that parents who reignite their clarity, confidence and conviction can reconnect deeply with their children as well and higher purpose. And that's something I'm very passionate about as well, because as part of the Empowering Family Health podcast, when parents are empowered, their children are going to benefit. And that's what this is about as well, because children are our next generation, as I always say. So Lisa, just say hello to the audience. You're very welcome.
I am so happy to be here with my sisters today. And I picked out this t-shirt this morning. I was wondering, what statement do I want to say to your listeners? And you know what? This came up. And after being a mom, it was what lit the fire in me. And I hope other moms who are experiencing burnout, I hope to help them reach a state of bliss. That would be my mission.
I love it. Because moms do so much and they're very unrecognized, and they don't get much recognition and, praise or whatever. We all need praise and acknowledgements, don't we? And women just don't, and parents, and we're wearing so many hats, and it's just, anyway, it's an incredible area, and I just love what you do, Lisa. I mean, I'm nearly going on a rant there, and I still have to introduce you to people, but it's just amazing, like what women do, and we're just so unappreciative, and that's what this whole collaboration, this whole community that Deb Drummond has created, and I'm just so excited about it, because women are amazing. And every single woman is amazing, and it's just been forgotten over the years, and we're going to get into all of that. I'm going to also introduce Catherine O'Leary, and let me tell you about this incredible lady. Catherine O'Leary, she is known as the Quiz Queen. The Quiz Queen. What's that all about, I hear you ask? Well, she is an expert in client connection, and she has over 3 decades of market research and consumer insights. So she worked in corporate with Fortune 100 companies, and now she specialises working with small companies and entrepreneurs, and she specialises in attracting clients and boosting revenue. And her approach uses insightful questions to foster strong client relationships and helping to grow your business. So I'm really excited to hear all about that. Catherine, you are very welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Joanna. I'm happy to be here and sharing the stage yet again with some amazing women and amazing entrepreneurs, and being a part of this movement that Deb has created. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it is. And we've seen you speaking on the stage, Catherine, a few times, as well as Lisa as well. And, we just keep popping up, and, your message is very, very strong, Catherine. And I love, we're going to get into it, but I love your twist. I love how you approach this whole thing about getting the best out of people. So we're going to talk all about that. And last but not least, let me introduce you to the amazing, the one and only Deb Drummond. Deb Drummond is all the way from Vancouver in Canada. This lady is a legend. This lady is on a mission to empower women all over the world. And her ethos is how to, when we empower women and when we collaborate with each other and we create sustainability, that's her magic word, sustainability. She says a sustained woman is a powerful woman. A sustained woman is a powerful woman. And that's what she wants to create. And everybody that she encounters, she's really encouraging this collaboration, and there's no competition. This is what I love about Deb. She has appeared in Success Magazine 48 times. She's been seen on multiple TV shows. Like, she's in the media big time. And she's got, I think, 34. Well, Deb's going to give us the numbers, but took 45, I don't know, 40 million impressions on this whole project. I think Deborah, if I'm right, I think you said it was even more than that. We'll talk about that in a second. Deb is also the CEO and the creative visionary behind Mission Accepted Media. And she also has her own podcast as well. She's a #1 international bestseller. She has got multiple awards. The list goes on and on and on and on. Deb, you're very welcome to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Hey, I'm very welcome to the podcast. I love that verbiage. Thank you so much for having me. I've had the opportunity to speak to your audience before. And I think on any show that we get an opportunity to share who we are and what we do, it's such an honor. And to be recognized, I appreciate your audience for continuing to come back and show up and be introduced to what it is that we're doing. And I do believe that a sustainable woman is a powerful woman, because I don't know about anyone else, but I've been places in my life where I wasn't sustained. You know, I was also raised by a mom who hit a financial wall, shall we say, and our family wasn't sustained, and it didn't allow her, therefore generationally didn't allow me to be able to make some of the decisions that I wanted to make. You know, like university or college, that we didn't even talk about that in our house. Like that wasn't, my first job was when I was 14, because we had to sustain. And so I think that if you are sustainable, it gives you the allowance and choices that you might not otherwise have. And also with a project of this, it allows us to reach globally, and also take care of ourselves locally, right? So when your cup is full, you get to overflow a little bit. Yeah. I mean, my friend.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I love you. I just want to hone in on that word choice that you used, because that's something that limits so many people. And we do actually have more choice than we realize, but we don't choose to take the choices. And an awful lot of the time we make excuses and we blame and we shame. We do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, we have to be responsible for ourselves. And when we are, then we can be clear what it is that we want. Catherine's going to talk to us a little bit about that, being clear about what we want. So when we're clear about what we want, then we can head in that direction and be responsible and be empowered and make it happen and live into the future. And that's what you're all about, helping people to have more choices. But we can't do it on our own. We need to do it together. It's like that one drop. We're all one drop individually. There's a quote about that, isn't there? One drop, and individually we are one drop. Together we are the ocean. And look at the power of the ocean, and that's who we are. That's who these 262 women in this project, and there's even more behind the scenes. There's more people involved in the project, and it's just, talk about momentum. Your T-shirt there, Dr. Lisa Tan, momentum. This whole project has created momentum, and there is power behind momentum. The ability to rest is the body's key to healing. Do you struggle with getting asleep at nighttime, or staying asleep during the night and waking up the next morning feeling absolutely exhausted? My book, How to Get a Good Night's Sleep, is easy to understand. It's solution-based and it's packed with research to help you take back control of your night's sleep. My book is available on Amazon, and it's also available on howtogetaggoodnightsleep.com. This book is also available in audio and ebook. So get your copy today and start having the best night's sleep that you've only ever dreamed of. Deb, I'm sure everybody is wondering about this 262 project. I know there was a long story behind it, and you've done so many summits, there's so many parts to it. Can you give us some insights about how and why this project is so powerful for anyone who hasn't heard about this yet?
Well, absolutely. And I appreciate that you saying there's so much more than 262, because yes, the project started with a book, 262 women. And honestly, my daughter's 31. And the first time I got a spiritual hit or a download or a message or whatever you want to say, an inspiration, I was 31. So we're just going to leave that right there. I was working out of a woman's day book. It's just a day planner. I won't say just because they're powerful. A day planner. And it had all these beautiful pictures, black and white photography of these women, and it went out of print. And I said, I'm going to make one of these one day. And over 20 years later, I got another message as I was walking across the bridge by myself during this world health crisis that we had. At that point, I owned a media company. At the first time I got hit, I owned a private health studio. Like, my background is in holistic health. I'd worked on over 30,000 clients. I'm a formulator. I was finishing talking pre-show about how I want to go to Ireland and just make perfume for the summers. Anyways, I got the, download per se that it was time. And at that point, I was in a media company and had already produced 9 other books. So called my publicist and said, it's time to do this woman's book I've been flapping about. And she's like, hallelujah, right? It's like when your friend's like, oh yeah, I'm going to finally do something. She's like, okay, let's do it. And she's like, how many women do you want to have in the book? And I was like, I don't know, I'll pray and meditate tonight. And I got 262, the number the next day, and I said no. I heard 263 the next day, I said no. And I went to text my girlfriend the following day and to say, how are you? And 262 came across my screen. And so I called my publicist and said 262, and she said no. And I said, I've been fighting for 3 days. Let's just do this. And that's how the process started a couple of years ago now. And then a year later, I was sitting on my couch and a movie got sent to me, like literally got sent to me. And I know I'm keeping it tight for podcast reasons. You can come to the show and find out. And it was a movie called Seeing All Red by Gloria Allred, and it was her life story. And I was not going to watch it. And I heard, we've sent it 3 times, watch the damn movie. So if you haven't noticed by now, if you pick up a theme, listen to your messages, even if they're quiet, and even if you say no. And so I watched the damn movie, and there birthed 22 summits. Ironically, because it was about International Women's Day to Mother's Day. And guess what? It was 22 summits. And 262, there's all this for those that are into numbers, but it actually turned out to be over 400 speakers, 262 women recognized in the book. And that's just us playing here. Never mind, if you truly believe we impact at least 7 people, you can do the math. And yes, we are in the last 90 days at 12 million media impressions. Last year, 33.3, again, for those that love numbers. And collectively, since March 2023 till now, we're over 50 million media impressions, which tells you that this whole project is to remind women of the solidarity of International Women's Day. That's what I want to say. That's really the true core message of this project. And the reason why is because of all the reasons that you ladies were talking about earlier. And it's about, the message was, get women to honor International Women's Day the way they do Mother's Day. And so the International Women's Day global project is about solidarity, so that even if you're in a country that doesn't recognize that day, doesn't let you say that day, doesn't let you text that day, because you will go to jail, is that the sisters on the other part of the world can send energy and love. And eventually we know that moves things, right? I mean, you have a, dysfunctional family and someone comes in that's full of love. Eventually, at least in that generation or the generation after, there's been a break of dysfunction. And, we're probably all people that have stood up against dysfunction. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen, and it has to happen somewhere. And the other thing is, I think we sometimes forget about the women who have allowed us to even have these ideas. And so we include women of history that have been passed on for over, I think, 50 years. We collected a group of women of history. And when people say why, I go, well, do you ever hear about Einstein's wife? Ever? Yeah. And she was an amazing scientist. And so we actually draw on them, whether we believe it or not. And women will draw on us, in years to come, and probably may not even know who we are. But that's what movements do. And honestly, could not have seen this one coming. Like, what's been unfolding, you only know, right? My presentation on May 11th is called The Stretch of Significance.
Woo! Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. As I'm here with a raspy voice and shrinking herbs.
And you just keep on going, Deb. I mean, stuff even pops up. I mean, we were even talking last night, and the challenge that you had, and like, oh, where am I going to get this from? And
24 hours later, 48 hours later, you made it happen or whatever, but it's been challenged all the time and it's uncomfortable, but we have to get into that space to make a change, because that's why it's uncomfortable, because it's different. It's not familiar. And the word familiar comes from familial, family, what we're close to, the bond. That's what the familiar comes from. And that's what uncomfortable is. And my God, I think you've had your fill of being uncomfortable, Sept.
I was sharing that this process has actually rewired me neuronally. Like, for sure. It has rewired me neuronally.
I can imagine that. Yeah. So yeah, no, so I'm gonna move on to Catherine, because Catherine's involved in this project as well. And I know, Catherine, we were talking before we were recording, and you're saying how much you were enjoying this and all the rest. But I want to get into your speciality areas. So you specialize, and you're called the Quiz Queen. Where did the Quiz Queen come from? What's that all about?
Well, it's self-appointed, to be totally fair. So I crowned myself, and it was a lovely ceremony. It was brilliant. Picked up worldwide. No, but I have, as you mentioned, I've been in corporate market research and consumer insights for 30 years. I've worked with some of the biggest brands out there, including Apple and Pepsi, and I started my entrepreneurial career. Didn't know quite how to take that kind of market research and turn that into a business for myself, because I knew I didn't want to be a market research supplier. So I started in network marketing and direct sales, and that was brilliant right up until the point where I made the realization that I was absolutely garbage at creating leads and getting lead generation working. Attracting my ideal clients was something that I was not good at, to the point where I was going to have to either figure it out or go back to corporate. And for me, going back to corporate meant 3 hours a day back in the car.
Whoa.
So it took me about 2 minutes to realize that there are not enough podcasts or audiobooks in the world to get me back in the car for 3 hours a day. So I had to figure it out. It was just to figure it out. I came across somebody that was teaching quiz funnels and asking questions and getting people to be attracted to your quiz, because you're actually helping them solve what I call their 3 a.m. question or their 3 a.m. problem. They get to learn something about themselves. You get to learn something about them. You both get to decide whether it's a fit to have a further conversation. And then you can, continue the conversation past that. So what it does is it allows you to get to know each other a little bit. And let's go on a date before we propose marriage, right? I mean, just because we've met doesn't mean that you should give me your credit card. Don't do that, right? I don't need that. No, that's proposing marriage on the first date. So, the paradigm is shifting, which is what I love about Deb's book and this movement, and the 262 movement, is that the paradigm is shifting away from push energy, from aggressive, from really lack mentality, like buy this in 2.12 seconds, or it's going to be gone forever until the next 2 seconds, and then it's back again, but only for 4 minutes. And then, people are savvy. People know better. And we're kind of bored with that, and we don't want to get pushed into things. And I think that that's a very relationship oriented conversation. And I think if we start from the beginning with, because what do you do when you meet somebody? You ask questions like, where are you from? Are you married? Do you have kids? What do you do for a living? We don't go immediately into, I have a solution for whatever's bothering you. Feels really pushy. And I think that this idea of relationship offering as opposed to transactional selling is a massive change in business. I think women are probably a little bit more easily wired to those conversations if they just get a little bit more confident in having that conversation and allowing it to be a relationship and an offer. And by the way, you're welcome for me putting together 30 years of my expertise in this course. Like having that mentality of our value, of what we're delivering, of the relationships that we want to build. And I think that having those conversations and asking those questions helps businesses to build in a way that builds community. And I think that that's what the paradigm shift is happening.
You're right, Katrin. I mean, oh my God, you're so right, because yes, there's a lot of that pushy and salesy, and it's real icky. It's kind of icky, and even when you have these discovery calls, there's some people that are afraid to get onto them because there's going to be a pitch. Like if it's a free discovery call, there's going to be a pitch, and that's what people think straight away. Whereas we want to help each other. We want to help each other overcome a problem. Obviously, there's a cost involved sometimes. Maybe it can be transaction or an exchange of some sort. But ultimately there is a cost involved. But it's that exchange, and there's a whole mentality around money and what have you as well. But it's that exchange. But knowing what they want, and for women in particular, there's a lot of women that are very worried about what people think, type of thing of them, right? So women carry that an awful lot through the generations. So we're very sensitive to how we think people feel about us. So quite often we're afraid to, give that big price or whatever, and not knowing exactly what it is that the client wants so that we can help them more effectively. So you ask these questions. So tell us, what are you finding is the most difficult, or the most the biggest block that you are finding with entrepreneurs? Is it entrepreneurs that you're working with, small business owners?
I think that it is people are afraid to ask. You're afraid because you're afraid of the answers, right? We're kind of a little bit afraid, like, you know what, I didn't like your program, or I didn't like that, or I didn't get what I wanted. But like, if you don't know that, then you can't get better at it. So, having a system in place that actually gives you that constant feedback, and gets you ahead of the trends of what consumers are wanting and needing. I think that people do it as a one-off exercise, and they don't have as part of their strategy. And I think that is something that needs to change. Because if you always know what your clients want and need, then you can always be in a position to either offer it yourself, or, let's collaborate. In the spirit of collaboration, maybe I need to send them to Deb, for media, advice and so on. Because I stay in my lane. Zone of Genius is not media stuff. So Deb and I work together. Let's, if it's not me, that's okay, right? Because I stay in my lane, but I know a lot of other people, and we all do. So let's have a conversation about how we can collaborate and make sure that my ideal client gets what they need, whether it's me or not. Right. And if it's not me and it's not my network, brilliant. Yeah. Let's not waste time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So attract your best and release the rest, because there's somebody else's best. Let them move on.
Say that again. That was brilliant. Say that again.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt moment.
Okay. Say it again. T-shirt moment. So attract the best and release the rest, because there's someone else's best.
Oh, wow. Mic drop. That's brilliant. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah. And so it's not about convincing them to work with you because they may not be your right client, and you can't serve them if they're not. It's not just about getting money. It's about serving them for what it is that they actually need. And what I've done personally as well in the past, I've created courses, right? Online courses, what I think is the best to deliver, right? Only to find out it's not what they actually need. So I did it backwards. So that's ultimately what a lot of people do. Yeah. So that's grand. I'm not the only one.
And we are not the only ones. I mean, BlackBerry was out there during the demise of BlackBerry. They were out there saying security, security, security. But if nobody cares about security, it's not a consumer benefit.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't matter that you think that it's a consumer benefit. If people are not convinced of it, it's not a consumer benefit that you can be touting. And just because you think it's the most important thing on the planet,
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. Who cares as to what? Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Some great insights there, Catherine. Lisa, we're going to come to you. So you're all about helping people to transform from burnout into bliss. And what I really love about that is because there are so many people, and even in my area of work, right, with sleep and helping people to rest well, a lot of people are, go, working to their, to their core. They're staying up late to getting their presentations done or their work done or whatever it is that they need to do. And they're sacrificing sleep. They're sacrificing their rest. They're going all day long and not taking a break. And I see this happening all the time. And they may be successful, right? But short term, but it will eventually catch up on them. They'll have this burnout. So tell me what you're experiencing in your world.
Oh, for sure. I wish, like Catherine, I was a self-appointed queen of some sort, but I was more of a self-appointed martyr, which I prefer not to wear that crown anymore. I'm taking off that crown and putting on a new crown as the queen of bliss.
Like,
so MOM, right? I used to be a martyr on a mission, thinking that I had to work till I drop. That was the mission. Work till I drop, because that's all I saw growing up. Like Deb, I was also working at a very young age. My mom raised us on a seamstress salary. And the goal, the mission was to never, ever let the sewing machine stop. I'd be doing homework. My other sister would hop on the sewing machine so it'd keep going. And then we would reverse. And then if my mom's done cooking dinner, she would hop on and then we might go do dishes. So the sewing machine could never stop.
wow.
That was the mission we grew up with. And I literally watched my mom work till she dropped. I got a phone call one day and said, Lisa, come. They called me from the ER. Your mom gave us, she was able to at least give them my phone number and say, come now. She literally worked. They took her on an ambulance from the work site to the emergency room. And at that moment, I say, do I want to continue being a martyr on this mission? No. I much rather become a maven or a maverick on a mission like we all are at 262. So that was like my aha moment. And, Catherine mentioned quizzes at 3 a.m. I remember many moments at 4 a.m. when I'm screaming in silence, hoping somebody would hear me, hoping somebody would get me out of this prison that I've created for myself. This prison that looked beautiful on the outside. I was a health professional, making 6 figures. I had a beautiful family, but yet I was completely dead inside because I completely neglected me. 100% burnout, 100%. I didn't want to go on anymore. And I promised myself, if I ever have a chance, I would never want any other mompreneurs, mom professionals, mom corporates out there to be screaming at 3 a.m. in the morning like I was. And I wouldn't want moms to have to trade their work for their family life. It ain't worth it.
No, it sure isn't. It sure isn't. That's a powerful story that you experienced yourself. I mean, right in your own family. And I mean, I can see that sewing machine. I was surprised the sewing machine didn't burn out before your mother did.
My mother still has that sewing machine.
Oh, Moses. What kind of an engine does it have in it?
It must have been built by Thomas Ford or whoever. back in the day. So what I love to do now is to hold a sacred container for women. And I like to say I take them off airplane mode, because we've been on airplane mode and disconnected probably from age 7. Disconnected from source. We've disconnected from our creativity, our intuition. So I take them off airplane mode and I get them back online to what I call the OG 5G network.
Nice.
And when they're back online, I take them through a very simple process, even when they're in their beta brainwave state. So it's different from hypnosis where you have to get into alpha. It's just, I could do it right now with all of you. So they're just in their waking normal state. And I have a conversation. And what's been shown in this conversation on brain scans is that we can tap into very specific memory centers, very specific pain centers, so that moms, professionals, entrepreneurs out there can separate past memory, can separate the pain from their memory, and what they're left with is just the wisdom of the event and just be able to move forward in their life.
Wow.
And in this process, we talked about generations in this conversation. It can go back 7 generations or more. Research shows, we get everything from 7 generations passed on to us, but I believe, it goes back way more. So it can also touch upon the generational piece, the things that have been passed down that I like to call the junk in our trunk that we don't even know what they are, but we're hauling it around forever. So it's time to let go of that as well. So this process works really well with fears. So for example, the biggest fear in the world, fear of public speaking. We could do it in one session. So MOM, another part that lights me up about this MOM is also, I like to think of this whole process that I do is mind over matter. When we can rewire, and it's been shown on brain scans that we can rewire the brain with this process, we change our 3D matter. We change our 3D landscape in this process.
Lisa, what you're saying about all this is just so, I mean, we've heard it so many times, but by God, we haven't really heard it, right? We are so disconnected from our past, and we're carrying a lot of our baggage with us, and we're very attached to it. And Dr. Gabor Mate talks an awful lot about this, how the trauma is, it's the biology that's going on inside. It's not the event that happened, it's the biology inside us as a result of, we're related to it, and it's so trying to
energetically weaved into our DNA.
Yes, passed down.
We're born into this world with this junk in our trunk.
Yeah.
It's truly time to let it go.
So you bring your clients through this process, and I know you do a lot of play stuff as well. You act it out, like you roll it out and act like a play. You do that as well, which is very, very effective. And there's other.
Yes, I completely believe in the embodiment piece. Like we can rewire all this up here, but if we don't bring it down to every single cell in our body, it doesn't play out in the rest of our lives.
I agree 100%.
Where like blissdiscipline comes in, right? The depth of activating your bliss, it involves activating every cell to our core.
Yeah, because it's not just the mind, and then the heart energy as well, and the heart is actually more powerful than the brain. The heart actually feeds the information to the brain first, believe it or not. So
many people don't know that, and it's been proven at the Heart Math Institute.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you're doing, Lisa. It just cannot be underestimated. I think everybody has an element of that, and as human beings, we evolve, and and we're carrying stuff. We're carrying the energy from, the famine and all, even, way back when we're carrying all that energy was, that's why we've got fear of money, lack of food, all this sort of thing, you know, and it's coming from somewhere, you know, and when we can identify it and we know what it is, then we can do something about it, you know, and we have professionals out there like yourself, Lisa, that can help. And even just coming back to Catherine, like what you were saying, Catherine, about, you know, being clear on what it is that people want, because it's that we have to know where we're going first of all, don't we? We have to know what it is, what we want, because there's an awful lot of what's going around in the world and we don't know what it is that we want. And as women, we're giving our power to other people. We're big people pleasers, aren't we? You know, and we're giving our power over to other people all the time in the hope of approval from other people, to be accepted and what have you. And that needs to be really recognised, and that's part of our burnout as well. Deb, I want to come back to you. You know, with all these summits that you're doing and all these great, amazing people that you have on the summits, and we've one more summit coming up on the 11th of May. So you're going to have another 12 speakers or whatever speaking on the day, more like Catherine and Dr. Lisa as well, talking about various different things, how to empower yourself and really succeed in life and business. But it's also a very big, important day, May 11th. Tell us a little bit about that, Deb.
Well, thank you. And I just love listening to these two ladies speak. And I really, I am for people to they will be able to get this book as of May 11th. This summit is going to be the official book launch that goes into the world. There is over 200 women that they're going to want to read about and see about. I mean, it is a full cover spread that does exactly what Catherine was talking about. The people want to get to know who you are and what you do, and do you resonate and connect? I mean, that's what Catherine's quiz does. It defines for you who needs to come to you, right? And I know, because we're doing something with a quiz right now for that exact reason, because we are continuing on with speaking and we need to get the word out to women. And so I'm going to use a quiz so people can be attracted or not attracted. That's okay. You know what I mean? So this event, though, is a all time zoned event. And so many of our events, we've had 22 summits, are in this time zone to this time zone, from this time zone to this time zone. This is a full time zone event. So we're starting at 8 a.m. PST, and we now stop till 7 p.m. I mean, I think I'll be on the air at 7 to 7. We're doing a full 12-hour day. First of all, there is over 25 speakers. We have a 6-panel celebrity finishing and closing out the day, which will be incredible. People that you know who their names are. You've seen them on screen and heard them sing and all sorts of beautiful things. We will have, people popping in between the speakers. We'll have, I was thinking about it today, it's going to be at least $25,000, if not $30,000, $40,000 worth of gifts that are going to be given away that day. It's going to be a massive movement day. I don't know if I'm going to get through it without crying, so I'm speaking early on. So I can, we're starting in Kenya with a woman, Mary, from an organization she created there called Living Positive, because so many people have AIDS where she is in Kenya, and they were just giving their children away because they were just like, I'm going to die anyway. So she's like, not on my watch, not on my watch, and taught them how to be happy, living positive, and keeping their family intact. I mean, there's a quest. There's a quest. Get that download. All right. I guess I should be grateful for my download. That's her download, right? And so we have people that are just doing the most incredible things personally. I mean, there's people doing grand, and then there's also people making movement and change, having the most corner coffee shop that people come into and feel safe in. I mean, really, it's not about grandeur, it's about impact. And so there's a variety of that throughout the day. It is a grand moment for us because it is the wrap up of 3 years of work, 22 summits in 15 months. All of the authors are coming, all of the speakers are coming, and we're bringing our tribes with them. It's free to the world. Like, this has been sponsored by the speakers. This has been sponsored by people that support. This has been media sponsors by people like you, right? That are media sponsoring us to be able to have access to get to everyone that we possibly can. No one can't be helped, inspired, motivated, gem drops. I mean, I think at certain points in your work or your life, it's really that one piece. In the beginning, it's all the pieces, right? It's like, okay, I have only one of me. I don't have as much time as I used to have maybe 10 years ago. I want to streamline this process. So I hire an expert, one expert. So Catherine, you're going to make it less timeable in my life to have women drawn to us to they want to be speakers. Cool. Now I hire an expert. Like I talked to you yesterday about hiring an expert about negotiations, right? Who knew the week after I was going to be, negotiating with the Emmys, right? I mean, thank goodness I said yes, And so that's kind of what happens, right? So this event is a big event. It is a no miss event. Like, yes, it will be streamed on TV. You'll probably be able to see it in about 3 months, but it is a no miss event. Like, you can listen to it in the car. Like and our summits have been set up to be no shame, no guilt. So no one's asking you to stay for 12 hours, but we're asking you to do yourself a favor and pop on and off as you can, right? Pop on and off as you can, get in that chat, support your sisters. Oh my gosh, that was amazing, right? Raise the bar and raise the vibration of this event. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. So we're launching. It's a big deal. People will be able to get their hands on this book. It'll be the Rolodex to your next, 200 and something new friends, business and in life. You'll be able to travel around the world with this book, access people. There's nothing better than going, oh my gosh, hey, I met you. Do you know how many people stayed at my house that I've met through this world of like books and what have you? People have been like sleeping on my couch and they come here and they're like, I'm coming to Vancouver. I'm like, that's probably your way of asking to come stay, right? They're like, absolutely. And so same, right? And then we go from there to an event of a week of just offering most beautiful things, business roundtables, dinners, shopping, big party, book launch live. In Australia right now, there's 100 invitations being made for the media in Vancouver with hand-embossed wax envelopes with our logo of that woman on there. I mean, absolutely, let's go. And so all of the media will be there and what have you. We want to create places for people to have platform. This is about if you show up at that event, whether you're in the book or not in the book, there'll be people in that room that can change your life. It's taking it from the 1,000 handshakes to get to where you want to go, to the 100 handshakes, to the 10, to the 5, to the 1. That's what this process is. So being in the rooms that make the difference, where you meet one person and then it's plethora. It's kind of like when people come to us to speak, they get print media, they get, social media, they get all the forms of media. It's not a speaking spot, it's a media spot. It's a relational spot, it's a handshaking spot. That's where you want to get yourself to go. And you need to be in those circles. If it's uncomfortable at first, get over it. And then, because you'll just keep moving. No, really, get over it. You know what I mean? And then get over it or spend a couple more years, circling out. So it's about creating those platforms, letting women take, the space that they want, like owning their space within that large space. And then we go to Ireland in August. Yay. And that's all getting worked out. And then we go to the Emmys. No way, when I got that download, because I couldn't, my planner went out of print. And here we are taking a book of these incredible women to the Emmys, to the celebrity gifting lounge, just hanging, being cool around the pool. You know what I mean? And that's actually where our location is. We're at the pool, and then there, off from there, we go to Dallas and do stuff there and for a 5-year book tour. I didn't know my world would be turning into this. I didn't know it would be turning into this.
It's so inspiring, Debbie. It is.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, we don't go alone. We don't go alone, right? I don't go alone. I don't do this alone. We don't go alone. And there's all this magic that people can tap into along the way, like absolute bliss and magic. That's why I tell people to do anthologies, to get into anthologies. That's why the planner that we have right now that people can tap into is an anthology planner. People are like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's a business planner where you can put a live video quote in our planner. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, to keep the anthology and the impact of more than one alive. Yeah. Right. So I know I'm kind of on a rant, and you asked about May 11th, but it is not just that day. And it's not it's kind of like a completion of the first, the first level cray. Now we're going to go cray. It's like now, and it's matured and it's solidified, and people that are involved are within movement and accessibility of the highest order. And now we go into 8 summits in the following year instead of, 22 and 15 months. And now we take this accomplished book and add an additional piece of print media where people will have access so that the accessibility doesn't go away, right? And yet honoring that first piece of that book that you have that I don't even have yet, all around the world, and letting people have access to them, yet inspiring them to create their own mission, right? Like trust me, I'm getting those conversations. How do you start I'm like, really? Okay. So how do you start something like this? How do you tap into something like this? How do you have your own, significant experience?
Right into the movement.
Yeah.
It's so true, Deb, because I've made so many connections, and they're not just connections, they're friendships.
Yeah.
Like really, I mean, for God's sakes, I met Heather Taylor in Dublin last week, and I hung out with her and had lunch, and I met her mum in person. I mean, that just would not have happened. And we're texting each other, and she's giving me some advice, and blah blah blah, and that's just the way it is. And we're friends, and we appreciate each other. We're very grateful. And it's nothing about, there's no pedestals. We're people, and we're same people who have feelings, right? Doesn't matter where you are in your, in your business, if you're an 8-figure or a millionaire or not, it doesn't matter. We're still people. We're on the same mission, wanting to empower and help other people to make the world a better place. That's ultimately what it is at the end of the day. And I can really hear you talking about all the different platforms and the different, when you're talking about media, there's so many opportunities of how people can help you on different mediums. How, on a podcast, in a book, at an event, or I know this person who would, introductions to other people and, referrals, and it just goes on and on and on. But it's really all about creating that relationship and really nurturing that relationship and having that trust, creating that trust for each other. And and women need great friendships. Like we all do. It's something not to be taken for granted. And my God, I mean, I met another lady 2 weeks ago, who's from New York, and this is from another event or whatever that I'm involved in. And I met her in Dublin. She came home from New York and was like, "Hey, let's have some lunch together." And we did, and we went to the Kells experience in Trinity College, and I showed her all around Dublin. That was great as well. And it's just so great to get out there and meet people and collaborate, and then do a bit of business or whatever, and help each other. It's just brilliant, what you're doing, and the opportunities that you're creating for people and helping them to go down their own venture of something that they want to do maybe or whatever. So it's just endless what this whole project is providing for people, and I'm really grateful to be part of this. Genuine regret, and I'm grateful to Joseph McGuire who introduced what happened.
I was just going to say that. I mean, the one thing I want to say is that, and I don't say this to pump out a course, but I say that media tends to be intimidating for women. And what I want to say is that, you're talking to someone who owned aromatherapy companies, made perfume. Do you know what I mean? Media wasn't part of my background. My quest was to create platforms because I coach entrepreneurs, right? And so I wanted to create platforms for people to feel comfortable, to get higher level of exposure, just like Catherine does with her people. Like, how much time do you want to waste? Like, you want to do 500, Facebook lives that you're scared to do half the time anyway, and don't put it, or do you want to do 10 of the right podcasts? And so as I started to optimize myself and my business, because I had a lot of families I was responsible for when the world took a health change. I was part of a large organization, and my responsibility was a lot of responsibility. And so I took it really serious. I think I slept only 3 days during that whole time to try to learn and get this media piece down pat, because people were so uncomfortable. So I put myself through the uncomfortability. So when people hear media and TV, and we didn't even talk about, our summits the speakers get their stuff over streamed on TV. When people hear that, they just get engulfed, and their prefrontal cortex goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. And they nod their head. I want to tell women that, so there's a class that we do. Literally, it's $1,500, but we give it to you for $50 as a donation to this party that we're having, this 262 thing. So you can come and learn things like what your media score is, how you can layer your media score. Really, what is the power of a Facebook Live through the power of a podcast, through the power, because sometimes people think, I could never be on TV. Well, yeah, you can. Maybe you can do it collectively. There's just some things about media that make it easier. But most women kind of freak out. And no one in my previous life would have ever thought I'd own a media company. You can ask them, because they'll tell you, right? I was in my kitchen making bath salts and making perfumes, and I taught chanting and meditation to corporate events. They did not see me running a media company with 50 million impressions. And it happened over the course of only 4 to 5 years. This is a very tight time frame. Didn't spend 30 years in media. I spent 30 years in service. And this is just where I happen to serve. And women can serve, and we need to bring it up to par so you can serve and not get burnt out. You can serve, be really clear. You can serve and help families, right? There's only so much that we can do. And so then let media do the rest. I don't know why I decided to get on a soapbox and share that, but someone needed to hear that because it seems ambiguous. It seems like when I hear Catherine, she was working with Dell how many years ago, I'm like, oh, wow, power to you. Like we just are not versed in technology by nature. And generationally, it's even still not where we're all drawn to. It's more of a have to learn than a want to learn, and that's okay. But you do have to learn it and then learn how to use it to your advantage.
I am so glad, Deb, that you did mention that because it is something that blocks an awful lot of women. I hear it all the time. I'm involved in another group, and one of the biggest things that comes up is, what do I use for my email autoresponder and what do I use for my landing pages? And even those terms are like, what is she talking about? But it's necessary for your business. It's necessary, for your clients. And what Catherine is doing with the quiz as well, it's really narrowing down an awful lot of the work that needs to be done. And you're not having to do as much work because you're really focused on talking to the right people. And then Catherine, when you're doing your quizzes, then people feel, I guess, when I'm filling out, I did your questionnaire and fill out the questionnaire, I actually felt like, oh, she really cares. She's asking me these questions. She really cares, and she's asking me my opinion or, what it is I'm struggling with. She really cares. And that's what comes across. And again, that kind of adds to the relationship as well. But I've been to your media score class, Deb, and it's absolutely, it's a 2-hour class, and it's just boom, 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 full of insights and, and you have a look at different people's businesses and, just boom, 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 and you do a question and answer. And it's just unbelievable what we can actually do and who we can work with that can help us. And it just gives you some ideas, and not all of them will you want to do, but you've got opportunities, you've got choice of a few different things. And it's not just about doing the one thing, it's doing a few different things, because that's what media is. It's like different platforms. And, some people prefer to read, some people prefer to listen, audio or whatever, and you're reaching different people on these different platforms. But the media is vital and the tech is vital, and it doesn't have to be. And we're moving in an era now where technology is moving very fast. And if we don't learn it now, we're going to be just lost, in 10 years' time or whatever. So technology is moving very fast. And it's great, like what we have available in technology. It really is super great. And even like with the quizzes, what you're doing, helping using the quizzes to help to narrow down and focus what it really been clear, so there is some Deb, that you did say that about the media class.
On a very deep chord, and that is the fear that women have around being seen and heard. Mm-hmm. It's something that just popped in as Deb was speaking, was like the persecution of midwives centuries back that we are probably still feeling now. And it's appearing in different forms now in the modern day, where maybe women are afraid to hop on a Facebook Live. But what I so appreciate about this passion that you've lit up in all of us, Deb, is that you've created this safe platform so that we can be seen and heard, and that we can start overcoming this fear that might be entrenched in each of us, that we don't even understand why it's there, but it is.
Yeah, which is why even attending May 11 and the summits that we continue to do, people leave feeling better about themselves. It's non-verbal per se, but they feel inspired. And that's the whole thing about coming and that was the whole thing about being inspired in general, right? But when that's the whole movement piece. So you get to move with the movement, whether you're in the book or not. I recognize that we're probably running to time. I know that I would need to wrap up and could talk forever, but I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to do a formal invitation to women and those that support women. So this is not, you will see men on the line. Me, we met by Joseph McGuire when I went to Ireland 10 years ago or something and did an event at a little cafe, vegan cafe. And there he was. And we had a conversation. And I got to meet you. And so it is for women and those that support women. It's the day to be. It's the place to be. It's the place to be. Absolutely.
And just to add as well, this book, it's a great Mother's Day present, because in America, it's Mother's Day the following day after on May 12th, it's Mother's Day. So it's a great Mother's Day present as well. So I'm going to put all the links in the show notes, and your invite as well to the May the 11th summit as well. And when we get details of the August event in Ireland with Deb, I'll give you details on that as well. But just before we wrap up, Katrin, I'm presuming you have a quiz of your own. Can you give us details of that? You do have a quiz, I'm sure, do you?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, if you want to learn more about whether or not a quiz is for you and can help you overcome some of the communication gaps you might be having with your ideal clients, you can go to quizformybiz.com and actually go through the quiz that Joanne went through.
Yeah.
And learn a little bit about your business and see how it all works.
And I think it's a great way to experience that process and how they could apply to their own business as well, and what their clients' needs might be to discover that gap as well. So that's really, because I think that's really, it saves so much hassle and so much time and so much work as well with the quizzes. It's just a great concept. And Lisa, do you want to shout out your website, tell people where they can find you?
Yes, but even before I do that, I just want to say I've blocked off May 11th. I'm all in, and I hope all the friends out there will be joining us. If you want to connect with me directly, drlisatan.com. But if you have trouble remembering that, just remember Dr. Lisa Suntan, because I'm here to light up your life and your purpose and inner fire.
So I love the humor and the fun and the laughter and all of this as well. Like, it's a serious topic, but it's been so much fun and enlightening, and it's just so great. It's so great to be in your presence. And Deb, I'll leave the last word to you. If you can just shout out your website address where people can find you personally.
Yes, absolutely. DebDrummond.com, DebDrummond.com. On the site is all what I do, predominantly, coaching people to be wonderful human beings, and having success in their business is one part of it. But if you want to look for the 262 information, there's a drop down that says 262. It's going to give you all the information, all the events that we're doing, the wine club, the journals that support the project, the speaking for next August, everything to do, all of the events in June 6th for the book launch. And you will find as we start to make launches available there too. So that is an ongoing, always will not change, 262. Absolutely. And reach out and have a conversation.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, Deb's is great to have a conversation. But I do encourage people to book a call with all these amazing women, and you never know, it's just absolutely incredible. But look, I am just so honored and privileged to be part of this whole project. It's been enlightening for me. It's lit up my world. I've met so many people. I just so much. I don't even want to go here, but I have to go and make the dinner now because I have to put my mummy hat on now. Hey, and you guys are only starting your day. For some of you, Deb, you're only starting your day over there in Canada. But listen, it's been a privilege, and so much more to come. So much more to come. May 11th, August, the Emmys in September. Oh, holy moly, the Emmys in September. My God, I can't believe that. When Deb told me, I was like, oh, and it was hush hush for a while. We weren't allowed to say anything. Can you imagine? But listen, it's been incredible. Thank you, Katrin. Thank you, Lisa. And again, Deb, thank you so much for having me part of this project as well. Thank you for being here, speaking to us and all the audience, and helping to empower women all over the globe. So thank you, ladies. So
thank you for lightening up my day.
Oh, you're so amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, take care. I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue
putting these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Take care.